Welcome to the Real Film Geeks. I'm Addison Lee.
And I'm Zebedee.
All right, so we have a few topics that we're going to go down the list today. And first off, it's not, I don't know, I don't really count it as news. It's kind of whatever, but the title, the official title for the
You know what it is? It's a pop-up ad.
Yeah, it really is. Like, it's the ad right before the actual podcast. It's like, by the way, Han Solo is called Solo,
a Star Wars story.
And it's just like, what did you think it was going to be called? Like,
right?
I don't know. Like,
The Quest for the Millennium Falcon.
I would almost take that. Like, I would almost take that than Solo. But yeah, so that's what it's called. The director, Ron Howard, revealed it on I think it was the official Star Wars Instagram. Like, he was saying they wrapped production. And then he's like, oh, can we actually say the name of this? And then like a Wookiee arm gives him a board, and he goes, oh, yeah. And he turns around, it's just
God.
Solo, a Star Wars story. And it's just like, all right, sure, why not?
Indiana Jones in space.
Well, originally, what it sounded like, it was Ace Ventura in space.
Ugh.
Yeah, so, yeah, we just wanted to talk about that just ever so briefly, just because,
It's a thing.
it's Star Wars, and, we all love Han Solo. I don't...
Like, the thing is, I hope this does well. But after hearing about the Jim Carrey thing, the Ace Ventura thing, I love Jim Carrey. But, Ace Ventura has no place in
Star Wars. Oh, yeah.
So, I just want it to be good, but I'm still really scared about it.
Oh, definitely. It's... that's all I can really say. It's just like, all right.
Here we go.
Let's see how this turns out. But, yeah, so really quickly, we just wanted to mention that. So now to our actual topics that we wanted to talk about. The other morning, black people woke up. Like, for some reason, everyone woke up at the same time, just like, I need to go to YouTube really quick. I don't know
what's going on. There's a disturbance on the YouTube.
Yeah, there's a disturbance in the force. I must look at it. And it turns out there was the official Black Panther trailer, because I guess the first one we got was a teaser trailer.
Right.
Yeah. So that was a teaser. Now we got the official trailer, and it looks pretty amazing. I'm not gonna
dude. It shows us more of Wakanda, and it's just hyper tech. It's so freaking cool. Like, everything about it is just insane. Like, it's hilarious because we're going to be doing a spoiler review of Blade Runner at the end of this episode. But I got real cool sci-fi Blade Runner vibes almost from the cityscape of Wakanda that we see.
Oh yeah.
Only the good kind, where Blade Runner is dystopian and dreary and stuff like that. Wakanda is bustling and alive and full of bright neon that's really cool, whereas Blade Runner is really sad and mopey.
This is gonna be the first futuristic movie that like you said, it's a utopia, because there's a utopian is where everything is good.
Everything that could be happening that's good is happening. It's ideal. And
dystopian, which is what we see in usual like Hunger Games or any other Maze Runner, Divergent, any YA novel now, that's a dystopian where everything is kind of on the down and everything's not what we want it to be. Mm-hmm. So it's really cool that the society run by black people, it's perfect.
Yeah. It's the only perfect society in the world.
Exactly.
In the Marvel universe.
And it's really cool because you made the comparisons to Blade Runner, because the trailer starts out with a hovercraft flying into the city, and just like we see in the original and the new Blade Runner, it's just that city, like you said, the city shot when it just goes in, you're like, I can't wait to see this world. They could have called this movie Wakanda, and I would have been like,
that'd be pretty dope. Too,
yeah, the world of Wakanda, because it just looks beautiful, and it's they found a perfect mixture of how a city is supposed to be. It's all CGI, but it looks alive.
I mean, it looks like honestly, when they do some of the street shots, it looks like they actually have some really nice sets built up. and they use practical effects for a decent amount of it. Like they've got some cars and stuff like that look really awesome, like a bus goes through.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's a practical effect. But it just looks like a futuristic bus.
Yeah.
Like heavily futuristic. I love it.
And
it's fantastic.
The really also cool thing is that this is like a prime example of Afrofuturism, I think it's called, which is just pretty much like it's kind of like a new subgenre of sci-fi fantasy, which is just, you know, a black society, future society,
Sure.
essentially. And then there's a whole podcast about it. I can't remember what it was called, but it was just talking about what Afrofuturism is, and this is it. Like, and you know, if you don't know the comic lore, Wakanda is the most wealthiest, the strongest, and the most well protected city in the Marvel universe.
Right.
And all that is because a meteorite that
Full
was
of vibranium.
that was like all vibranium crashed, and it's like under a mountain, and that's where all their power comes, or their power source, their, you know, the major resource is vibranium, and that's what their buildings are made of. That's what their ships are made of. Their weapons, everything is based off vibranium.
Right, but they don't trade it to anybody.
No.
Like, they don't let anyone have it because they know how dangerous it is.
Not even other African countries.
Yeah, and so when people come to them and go like, you know, we want to buy your vibranium, we'll pay like exorbitant amounts of money, and they're like, nope.
Yeah. Like, I remember there was one comic where someone was invading Wakanda, and they didn't know Wakanda was what it is, and they saw these people coming out with spears, and like, oh, they got spears, and like a spear like ripped through a tank because it was made out of vibranium. It was just like, impenetrable metal. It was just like, oh, these savages, they have spears.
Yeah, and it just destroys their vehicles and stuff.
So I'm excited about just seeing Wakanda, because the director Ryan Coogler, he has a way of making the city feel like a character, because he did Creed back in 2015, and the way he directed it, he's a very urban director, not because he's just black. It's just because how he shoots the city, and like Philadelphia felt like an actual character, and it was he shot it in a gritty way, but not making it feel like, oh, I don't want to go there. He shot it to make it feel real.
Yeah, just like a real like that's what I've always loved about a director that can actually like capture a city. It makes you want to just go to that place and just sit there and just look at the same shot that director made, and just hang out there.
Yeah.
And just like take it all in, because it's just this massive it's almost like a landscape, you know, that you just want to be a part of.
And what made it really cool was that he especially with Creed, he shot the ghetto, but it didn't feel like what most Hollywood does, is like, oh, you don't want to go there. That was just what it was. Like, it wasn't like it wasn't lifted to be, oh, this is where all the gangsters hang out and blah blah blah. It's just like, no, this isn't a ghetto. This isn't, you know, upscale neighborhoods. This is just reality.
Right. It's like in Do the Right Thing, how it's just streets where people hang out at. Yeah. And like, you'll just bump into
home. This is
you'll just
home.
bump into people and be like, hey, what's up, man? Like, let's play basketball later, or like, you know, like they just hit each other up and like leave, and like that's it. Like, it's not like drug runners on every corner.
Exactly.
Gangbangers like
and hookers walking around.
Yeah. No, it's just average.
Someone's reality.
You know? It's just someone's life. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I'm really excited to see how Ryan Coogler shoots Wakanda. And I want to see what like Wakandan life is. I'm really hoping we get to that. So throughout the trailer, we actually also see the palace, like the T'Challa's palace, and it is so sci-fi, and I'm actually really excited, because it's just like, hey, black people got sci-fi now, and it looks really cool. And we see some different Black Panther suits. We see the he goes on his vision quest, like when he's walking in that like very much like Lion King.
Yeah, oh god, that's exactly what I thought of. He's walking towards like a tree, I think.
And it has
a panther in it.
Yeah, no, like his panthers. So I'm like, we're about to see like the past kings, which this is my theory, is that this is where we're going to see the Soul Stone. because I think within that meteorite with all the vibranium was the Soul Stone, and that's how. Because if you don't know in the comics, when you're a king, you go to the Valley of Kings or the Cave of Kings, or one way or the other. There's a place where you can go and talk to the past kings of Wakanda. So, and if you know, once you're a king of Wakanda, you're also the Black Panther. Right. So if you need guidance or you feel confused, you would go to this place and speak with past kings. So that's my theory, is that the way they do that is because of the Soul Stone.
The Soul Stone, which connects them.
Yes. So that's my theory. But then someone also pointed out, like, that's too many Infinity Stones that kind of appear on Earth.
I mean, yeah, but like we're getting pretty close to Infinity War anyway. Like, there's not too many more movies that it could be in.
So that's my theory. And someone also pointed out, like, if you're a black actor in Hollywood and you're not in this movie, your agent's really messing up. Like, everyone's in this. Like, I think I also feel bad for Idris Elba, because I think he put out like just a few days before the trailer came out, he's just like, I'm not gonna lie, I wish I had a more important character, because he plays Heimdall in Thor,
Heimdall, who's pretty damn cool, but
so underused. Like, he's not going on adventures with Thor. He's just like, he's a doorman.
Right.
You know, like
the all-seeing doorman.
Yeah, he's like, wears the white gloves. Like, you going this way, sir? All right, we'll send you that way, sir. Have a nice day, sir. And he's just like, oh man. But so yeah, were there anything that stuck out to you that was like a major positive for you?
I love the camera movement.
Oh yeah.
In some of the action scenes that we got to see in the trailer, it was really fantastic. At one point, T'Challa as the Black Panther gets launched off of a car, and he flies toward. I say fly as in he was thrown towards a building, and as he's thrown towards the building, he rights himself. The camera turns so that as he's running up the side of this building, it looks as if he's running horizontal on flat normal ground, and then it turns again as he jumps off of the building to him jumping onto a car that he was thrown from, and lands. Like, it's basically a 360 degree camera turn in order to track the Black Panther's movement the entire time, and it was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
There's that, and like I said earlier, the cityscape scenes look like they're really well shot. I mean, just all around. Like, I also really like the way that Black Panther's suit comes on. Like, he it just like morphs onto him. So like, you think like Tony Stark when he has the Iron Man suit like form around him when he sits in the chair in Civil War, only like directly onto his skin.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
And the cool thing is that this particular suit is similar to the current Black Panther comic, because that's how it comes onto me. It just morphs around him. So that's kind of like the most recent development in the Black Panther character.
Also, I just love how the Black Panther suit always makes him look pissed.
Yeah,
he's always angry looking.
And it's also really cool because like when we meet Black Panther, he's essentially at his final form. Like, there's no like, oh, I gotta figure out how to do this. He's like, nah, I'm the best at what I do, and if you get in my way, you're gonna get messed up. Like,
pretty much.
So, and another thing I'm kind of hoping is how they play T'Challa, because we know it's a Marvel movie, and there's gonna have to be like a love interest. I kind of don't want there to be, and I think that's what they're doing with Lupita Nyong'o, who we see in the trailer a few times. And what I don't want, because what I wanted is that I want to see a man trying to earn the love and respect of his country. Like, that's what I want his goal to be. And it's not to be, oh, I want this girl to love me. It's like, no, I want, because again, he became a king outside of the country, because that's where his father died. So he became king off campus.
So like some like one of the things might be people going like, are you really like fit to rule if you weren't like coronated here or something like that? Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping that a lot of the movie is him trying to earn the love and respect of his people, because I mean, I know that's a lot of different storylines of Black Panther, is him trying to earn the respect of as king.
Right.
So, and also this is going to be really cool, because none of the women in this movie are like damsels. There's
No,
not
there's a bunch of
one.
warriors.
Yeah, like
Like
that.
I think his guard are
All
these
women.
Two, yeah, are women, and they all got these like
I-
awesome like lance staff things, spears, and it's just like okay.
And one of them is played by I can't remember her name, but she plays Michonne in Walking Dead. Like I can't remember her name, but she looks like such a badass. So yeah, don't if you're not gonna see any like, oh, save me, Black Panther. It's like, no, we're his guards. Like
Right,
because
I feel like everyone in Wakanda is battle ready. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like
Even
if
his-
anyone gets invaded, they just destroy them.
even his mom, who's played by Angela Bassett, like in the first trailer, she gets surrounded by somebody, and she's like ready to fight. Like she's not gonna call her son. She's like, I'm gonna handle this because I'm a badass mama panther too. Like
Yeah.
who do you think raised this kid? Like,
Right.
So I'm really excited about that. There's only one thing I'm not excited about, and that is, and it's not even him. It's Michael B. Jordan, and it's not him. It's the fact that he has a similar Panther suit that he fights Black Panther with, and I think they call it like the Golden Jaguar or whatever. And they try to make sure it's not a Panther suit, but it's
But it
very
kinda
similar.
is.
Yeah,
it, like
it has the same like neck design, and
it's just very reminiscent of like Iron Man and
Ant-Man.
yeah, where it's just,
Pretty much not every non-superhero or non-superpowered hero in Marvel, they have to go against their their negative counterpart.
right.
And I'm not a fan of that. Like cuz it looked it was cool cuz in the original trailer, he had his own like cuz if you don't know, Michael B. Jordan is playing Eric Killmonger, which I think in some iterations they were friends at first, and then they turned on each other or whatever. But and I don't know. I don't everything up until the point where he has his own suit. I just wasn't in. I wasn't in on. We also see very short glimpses of Man Ape or White Ape. I can't remember what he goes by. I think it's
right.
I think it's Man Ape. And he's pretty much just like a rival clan who, in some iterations, takes the throne. Mm-hmm. Like I think there were some versions that he was the one who killed T'Chaka, who was T'Challa's dad. So I can't wait to see him. I know, and also we have Andy Serkis as Claw, which we saw in Avengers: Age of Ultron. We saw him a quick glimpse of him, and he looks like he's just having a ball. Like he's just having so much fun as playing a villain that you can actually, see instead of being covered in mocap.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of the villains? Do you think the suit's too much, and what do you think of the introduction of Man Ape and Claw?
Well, I think that at least with Killmonger, like they needed to have at least one of their villains be super villainy, like actually like have like a power or something like that. But what do you have? What kind of villain do you have go up against a dude in a vibranium outfit, except for another dude in a vibranium outfit, I guess.
But it didn't have to look exactly like.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I kind of almost was like, why didn't they have him like make like a like not actually have access to the same kind of stuff that could make a suit like that, but still have access to vibranium somehow, like by stealing it. And so he has like a vibranium
sword or
something that he like. Because he claws.
He dual wields. He has two swords, so it's like just have those be vibranium, and those are the only thing that can like get his suit. And
yeah, like he specifically makes something to fight against the Black Panther because the only thing that can defeat him is vibranium.
Exactly.
I mean, and then with the other two, it's just like one of the big things about Wakanda and the Black Panther story is he's protecting it from outside forces that are trying to exploit it, and so. Like the other two villains, I think having like a subplot of like smuggling vibranium out or trying to like take over control of the city from within or something like that, or just causing mayhem even would be kind of nice. Like it's a neat little like thing. It's probably going to be like the first two acts, and then in the background, Killmonger is going to be doing stuff, and then the last act is going to be him going up against Black Panther, and it's like, all right, that's a nice little setup for it.
Right. So, and my other issue with having pretty much his big three villains, Killmonger, Man-Ape, and Claw,
Right?
I don't know what you're going to do. Well, okay, one, there's going to be a sequel. This movie is going to make so much money. Because if you think,
No doubt.
like, you know how with Wonder Woman, women came out in droves to see this movie? Black people are like, the theater is going to be packed with black people. Because I remember when the first trailer came out, and I had a lot of I graduated from a HBCU, so I had which if you don't know, wow, it's a historically black college, and most of the population of those schools are African American or Black American, which one you prefer. And so a lot of my old classmates I saw on their Facebook feeds were just like, I don't really like superhero films, but I'm going to see this.
Right.
It's like, so we got a all black cast. Oh, wait, minus Andy Serkis and Martin Freeman, which is like two people.
I saw this really hilarious
two white
post.
people.
Yeah, I saw this really hilarious post. Those two played Bilbo and Gollum respectively in the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So they're the Tolkien white guys.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And all we need is a little cameo from Doctor Strange, and then boom, because he played a Smaug and Sauron in the Hobbit films, right? Or he was the voice of
Smaug. He was the voice of Smaug the dragon.
and also the Necromancer, which was Sauron.
Sauron?
Sauron.
He was the voice of the Necromancer?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. All
Yeah.
right.
They're
Cool.
like, well, we got this guy. We're already paying him, so let's.
All right, Cumberbunch.
Yeah. So all three of them, Tolkien's.
The Tolkien white guys.
I think they actually said like the film is going to be like 92% black, because I think they go to North Korea at some point, or South Korea. I
To
don't know.
North Korea.
Yeah, South Korea. So I don't think they're
Black Panther just ends the nuclear threat of North Korea.
So this film is black director, black writers, like black. I mean, we also have Stan Lee. Okay, this is my Stan Lee cameo. When Black Panther shows up and all his guards are on the side, I just want Stan Lee to stand there in like all Wakandan like battle armor, just like. I don't think I'm supposed to be here. Like I want that to be
How did I get here?
I want that to be a very just fourth wall breaking, just like, I don't think I'm supposed to be.
Like
here.
I really want in like Infinity War or something like that, Stan Lee to be with the Watchers again.
Yeah.
And then just be like, and then this other time I was in like this really big like royal room as a guard or something like that. I don't know how I got there. And I was only there for a couple seconds and then I was gone.
Yeah.
And then like in the Stanley cameo for him to just like be in the royal guard room or something like that as a guard, and then they look back and he's gone.
Yeah.
that's it.
Was he ever there to begin with?
Was he ever really there?
So yeah. So other than that, I'm just so excited for this movie. This is the movie we've been like waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
It's a black-led superhero film that's not a joke. It's not Steel where it's bad. It's not.
It's not blaxploitation. It's
yeah.
like it's actually embracing
black
culture
and enhancing it
Mhm.
like to tenfold. And I know there was Blade, but Blade was the only black character in the film.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a black director or writer. So I don't really count that one. When I say a black superhero film, I meant like everything, like the directors, the writers,
right.
the majority of the cast is all black. And this is a film we've been waiting for, because we had Meteor Man, which was a joke. We had Blank Man, what was a joke. Hancock was tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
But that and still wasn't taken as serious as they're taking this one. Like everyone's having fun, but they are taking this film seriously, and that's what I'm really excited about. So, we're gonna move on to our next topic, and we're gonna try to go through these a little quickly, just because when we do our spoiler review of Blade Runner, we want a lot of time for that. But yesterday we saw Marshall. Speaking of Chadwick Boseman, who's playing Black Panther, he played Marshall. In the
Thurgood Marshall.
Thurgood Marshall. This was, if you don't know who that is, wow, your school system's really failing you. He was the first Supreme Court judge or
Justice,
yeah.
that was black.
Yeah, and he was for the time being, he was the only lawyer for the NAACP at the time.
Yeah, around 1940.
Yeah, and where this movie takes place is one of his not it's not one of his known cases because of course the case he's really known for is
Brown v. Board of Education.
Yeah. So, but this one was just like a very small case in Connecticut where this black servant who was like a driver for this really rich family, he supposedly had raped this woman and tried to kill her. And so of course, since he being the only lawyer from the NAACP, he's being shipped from like place to place to place because
immediately, right after he finishes the case, he's sent to another one.
Because like they would send him to only for cases that it was very apparent that that
race was the reason
they were being convicted. Yeah. So he goes to Connecticut. He's arguing with this for this guy's case, and they say like, "Hey, you're from another bar. You can't
practice
do law
here."
Yeah. So you need you can be on a council, but you need someone to actually represent you to represent the defendant.
Right.
So that's where Josh Gad comes in. And at first they bicker back and forth because Josh Gad, who plays Sam Friedman, he's a Jewish man, and
he was also like, I don't do criminal cases, I only do insurance claims because it keeps me under the radar and no one really like pays attention to me.
Right. And since he was Jewish, because guess what, a lot of people didn't like Jewish people either. So
yeah, that's the crazy thing was like in the 1940s, of course. We were at war with, Germany and Japan, and of course in Germany the Holocaust was going on at that point.
Right.
And one of the great things about the movie is it doesn't say Holocaust, but at one point, Friedman's wife gets off the phone and starts crying, and he's like, "What's the matter?" And she's like, "My cousins." And then he's like, "Oh God, they got taken. What about their children?" And she just bawls.
And you know
right away. Oh, it's her family in the East, in Germany, in that area, were taken by the Gestapo or the SS and are then shoved into concentration camps.
Yeah, and so the film was very powerful in that kind of aspect, where it was just like it wasn't sugarcoating a lot of the racial tension. Like
heck no.
Like just the way a lot of people like looked at Thurgood when he would like speak, because he was just like, man, he was just cool. Like that I don't know if that's how he was when he was a lawyer at the time, but like he was just like suave. Like everywhere he went, he wasn't scared. Like that one time, like at the beginning of the film when he's at the train station and those guys show up.
So he's at a train station waiting for his train to pull up, and these three like white guys, one of them has a shotgun, come up like, and they're like, "Hey boy," and he turns to him, and then they're like, "We're gonna like teach you a lesson, boy," and he's like, "Maybe next time, fellas." And the train rolls in,
just like he has a cigarette in, and they're like, "Why don't you come over here?" And he's just like, "Maybe next time," and he disappears in the smoke of the train. And you're like,
"Yeah,
is he Batman or something?"
Right?
Like, where'd he go? And it was just so there was never a time where he felt like he was always in control, mostly just because that's how he would carry himself.
Well, that's one of the things too is he always seemed like he was in control, but he was always ordering people to do things. Like he was coming off like very dickish because he would just be like, "Pick up my bags for me," or "No, you're gonna do this." But at the same time, it's like that's a character flaw and a character strength because it made it so that he didn't take no nothing from nobody. Like there was no "yes sir" to like anybody, because if anyone tried to do that, like, "Hey boy, I'm gonna do this thing to you," he'd be like, "No, you're not."
Yeah.
But at the same time, it made him very standoffish and made people like Friedman dislike him at first because he was just so, "I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna do and you're gonna frickin' do it."
And the really cool thing is that because at one point during the case he makes a mistake and he's just like, "Sam, you were right, I was wrong. Like instead of me trying to do everything and you just talking for me, we have to work together." And I will say this, the way they portray Thurgood Marshall, if this movie was done in the 60s or 70s, this has Sidney Poitier written all over it.
Oh yeah.
Like the way cuz like we talked about with Black Panther, Thurgood Marshall is pretty much at his like his character arc is at the he's there.
Mm-hmm.
He's at the top of his hero's journey.
That was one of the interesting things about this film is that it's Addison. You and I were actually talking about this before we watched the movie, but like, it's not a biopic.
No,
it's not like a weird biography of his entire life. We are watching a single isolated event in his life that explains a lot about him and shows us like his mettle, his character, and also a somewhat important aspect of like the NAACP and the the advancement of the civil rights movement at that time, which was him learning to rely on other people and teach other people how to be him, essentially. And so he just kind of like blows in like the mysterious stranger on a train into this town. Everyone doesn't like him because he's the outsider.
Which what Sidney Poitier did in like all his movies.
And then he does something great and then
moves on.
Just like that, moves on.
But
he's changed the lives of everyone that he interacted with.
Exactly. Because there is actually a line in the movie where, because, he made a statement to the press about, kind of insulting the judge without really insulting him. And Sam's just like, you can't do this because I'm the
one that this affects when you leave because I live here.
And he's like, whatever you do, even win or lose, you're going to leave and no one's going to remember you. But, obviously, because we're not going to spoil it, but, like, at the end of the movie, it has, like, a stinger of, like, what everyone did afterwards. And because of what Thurgood Marshall did in his relationship with Sam turned out, instead of doing just
more insurance.
Insurance cases, he became someone fighting for civil rights. So it's like he may have not changed the outlook of Connecticut, but there are some people who were affected by what he did. Like, because it's not like because in Hidden Figures, another great film from last year, it kind of seemed like everyone kind of saw the error of their ways, like, oh, maybe racism isn't that bad, or maybe racism
isn't that bad.
Sorry, maybe racism is bad. In this one, they're just like, all right, but we still don't like you.
Hidden Figures takes place in like the late 50s and the mid 60s, whereas
this was in the
40s.
This was a little later.
This is a little bit,
but it's not like racism just like disappeared and everyone's just like, it's not like
gonna dance in the streets together.
Yeah, it's not like what's it called, The Wiz, brand new day. It's not none of that. No dancing in the street. But you do see what he did and what led him to become what Thurgood Marshall would become in his later years. I will say it made me want to like research more about him because I know some things about him, but I'm just like, I want to learn more. But I want to piggyback off what you just said because it's not a biopic or biopic, whatever you want to call it. And I think this is the best way to do those films, is to do isolated events that either lead to or are major events. Because if we did Thurgood Marshall from birth to Brown versus the Board of Education to death,
it'll be diluted. We'd only get little snippets of things.
Exactly. We don't like, oh, but I kind of wanted more here or more there or anywhere, like, So I think this is the best way of doing it because they did it with Hidden Figures. They did it with Selma, even though it didn't turn out the way people wanted it to. I think that's just the best way of doing these biopics instead of birth to death, and you get like a 2.5-hour movie, but you're not getting like, I wanted more there, and I wanted more there. So I think it works very well. I don't know if this is going to be an Oscar contender, but I do believe that
it's a very good movie, regardless.
Everyone deserves like praise for this movie, from Chadwick Boseman, Josh Gad, even Kate Hudson, even though because she was the woman who was. She was the one who was raped or accused of being raped.
Accused the black guy of
raping.
Her.
Yeah. She did really well in the film. And Sterling K. Brown, who was the accusee,
the defendant.
Yeah, he played his role really well. And I also want to quick shout out to the director, who's Reginald Hudlin. he directed the film. He hasn't done a film in a long time, actually, because I know he did a lot of TV. This is like his first feature film in like 15 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to give him a shout out because he's one of the people that's helping bring back Milestone Comics as
Right.
with M in DC, and he's writing the first. If you don't know what Milestone is, it was the first black owned comic publisher in the 90s, where we got like Static Shock, Icon, Hardware, Blood Syndicate, so on. So they're bringing that back next year, and he's one of the guys who did it. So shout out to him one time. But yeah, it was just a really powerful film, and you know, it's one of those like strong black characters that people can really like latch onto, because like we said, he is kind of most of the time in control of what's going on, and he doesn't seem too phased.
Yeah, like he's in control of what's going on, but it still takes place in an era in which someone like him was still in danger at all times,
Yeah.
more or less. Like he was in Connecticut, a northern state essentially,
But they're still
and
like,
at one point he gets cornered in a bar by some white dudes that want to like trash him and call him boy.
yeah, and he pretty much, and he fights back until, you know, the bartender saves him essentially with a shotgun. But there's and it also kind of shows that not everyone was scared. Some people were just like, I'm gonna fight, like, because he didn't seem like what's it called, ignorant to what was going on around him. He kind of just like